4/2/2024. I got some player props that I like. This video is being brought to you by PROPS.CASH, one of the best tools in the business to get us where we need to be on these props. The link is down in the description. Get 25% off your first month. First player I'm looking at is Darius Garland from Cleveland. We're looking at his points and assists. Let's look at his live odds real quick. Currently, he's at 22.5 in a lot of places, but he's still at 21.5 at PrizePicks, and at Better, basically everyone else has him at 22.5. Let's look at Garland a little closer, and we're going to look at his 21.5 line. So that's fine. Garland over here on Props.Cash, they got him at 22.49, going against Utah, who's ranked fourth defensively versus his position. And as you can see, Garland has went over 22.5 in 57% of the games this season. Last 20, he's went over 65%. Last 10, 60%. Last 5, 60%. And versus Utah 100% of the time this year. So let's look at Garland a little closer. Again, as we mentioned, we showed these numbers before, but it's all green down here. We like to see the all green down here in Props.Cash. Over here is another very important stat, points. Utah 29th, almost last in the league with giving up points, but they rank well versus the point guard position. That's because they have Colin Sexton. He plays very good defense, so you expect him to bring it all the time. And we can also look at over here, and we can just select point guards, and we can see point guards have went over points and assists. Fox went over, Davion Mitchell went over, Fred VanVleet went over. That was back on 329 and 331. Aaron Holiday didn't go over his prop, which was 8.5, back on 329. And we're looking at point guards here. Seeing Kyrie went over back on 325. His prop was 31.5. So you can get a good indication of what's going on here. And you can see they had a streak of games where the point guards didn't go over their props for points and assist. It's another good little tool you can look at in Props.Cash to kind of give you an indication of how a team is playing defense versus a certain position. We did choose the point guard here because Garland is the point guard. So we're looking at 21.5. I like the over on the 21.5. He's pretty, let's push it down to 21. He's pretty heavy favorite, not a heavy favorite. They got a minus 125 to go under here on Props.Cash. Again, if we look at the live odds, when it's at 22.5, slight favorite to go under. Again, we're targeting the 21.5 line at PrizePicks and 21.5 line at Better here. We can go back to Props.Cash, and I like the over 21.5 for Darius Garland versus Utah. Next player we're looking at is Anthony Davis, Los Angeles Lakers versus Toronto. The game's in Toronto. Usually stay away from Davis, but he does have an interesting prop over here on PrizePicks of 26.5. Everybody else has it at 25.5. JockMKT got it at 26. Dabble has it at 26, and at 26.5 on PrizePicks is very, very interesting. Let's go over here and look at Davis. He has a projection on Props.Cash of 26.59. Let's look at Davis a little closer. You can see this year he's only went over 25.5, 54% of the time, and not good with the others. You can see that those numbers are red. Toronto's ranked 15th defensively versus center position. And that's looking at Davis a little closer. And we're going to push this up to 26.5. What I'm seeing at PrizePicks. He's only went over that 44% of the time. This season, 31 out of 70 games. Head-to-head, though, he's 50%, 1 out of 2. Last 10, 30. And last 5, 40%. He did play on 3/31, which is like 3 days ago. So you can see all this green right here. It's good for LA. Toronto isn't that great defensively. Let's look at something else here. Let's look at Davis's away games. Away, only 42% in his last 10. And for the season, away, 42% also. We're going to go with the numbers here. LeBron is playing. Everybody's playing. Only on the 26.5. We're going to take the under 26.5. We're going to stay away from the 25.5, but under 26.5, we take the under. The last player I'm looking at for today is Duncan Robinson. We're looking at Robinson's points. One of my favorite players from last year, especially during the playoffs. Made us a little cash. Let's look at Robinson now. Prop 10.5, 11.5 in some places, as you can see. 11.5 over here on PrizePicks. 11.5 over here on Parlay Play. 10.5 still at Underdog. Better. Dabble's pushed it up to 11. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, PrizePicks pushed it up to 11.5. Let's look at Robinson a little closer. You can see Robinson down here, projection on PROPS.CASH of 11.02. Decent favorite to go over 10.5. New York ranks 13th versus his position. But as you can see, Robinson, 67% of the time, he's went over 10.5 for the season. Last 20, 65% of the time. Last 10, 70% of the time. Last 5, 60% of the time. Versus the opponent, only 38% of the time. I like Robinson here, and I like the over 10.5. Stay away from 11.5. I like the over 10.5. Playing good recently. Over last 30, over last 10. What I like about the last 10, he hasn't went over in the last 2 games. Not really sure why. I need to look and see as his minutes looks like recently. He got 28 minutes last game, 24 minutes prior to that. So his minutes are down pretty drastically since the last game on 3/17, where he had 30. We'll check his injuries and see if anything is going on with him with that. But no injuries. I like Robinson to go over 10.5, but we'll look at that a little closer. But for now, I do like the over 10.5, but we'll do a little additional research to see if he's injured or anything like that. But the numbers are telling us to go over 10.5, stay away from 11.5. That's all I have for today. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share. Premium picks over on Patreon. Link is down in the description. See you in the next video.